I was talking to a woman yesterday and asking her why she felt she couldn't stop drinking. What was it that was getting in the way? And she said, I'm very anxious. I've been anxious for years. And I responded in the way I always do, which was, maybe you don't have anxiety. Maybe what you've got is alcohol. Now, that might sound a little bit odd and a little bit challenging, but as I asked her, I could almost hear the penny drop, because the next thing she said was, do you know, I wasn't always anxious. Now, that has been my experience for years now. I certainly believed that I was an anxious woman. I always drank to make it okay to deal with things, to be with people, to be in social situations. And whenever I was challenged, my anxiety would kind of go crazy. And then I would drink to make sure that I didn't have to feel that horrible feeling. But when I stopped, when I was 54, which is 9 years ago now, I discovered very quickly that I am not a particularly anxious woman. I have my anxieties like everybody, but I would never, and haven't since I stopped drinking, describe myself as an anxious woman. And this is something I've seen in women that I've worked with over and over again over the years. I even did a little questionnaire a while ago and asked the sober women who were in the group to tell me about their experience with anxiety now that they were sober. 162 women responded, and the results were shocking. Now, it isn't a scientific study, obviously. It was just a little poll in a group, but still, the results were amazing. 70% of the women said that their anxiety had massively reduced. 17% said that their anxiety had disappeared altogether, which again didn't surprise me because that had been my experience. 12% said that they were either reducing or had already come off any anxiety meds. Now, obviously, if you're taking anxiety meds and you're wanting to give up alcohol, you need to do that safely with your doctor. But what's shocking to me about that is that if that's 99% of the women who responded were experiencing either no anxiety or massively reduced. That's phenomenal. And I think what this speaks to is the fact that alcohol makes you anxious. And you drink more because you feel anxious, and you drink more because it makes you feel anxious. So you're in this terrible hamster wheel for years, trying to get off it, sitting with the fear that you might not be able to function and might be a complete mess because your anxiety has reduced you to a puddle. But the truth is, it doesn't have to be that way. And one of the things I realised when I stopped drinking was that I had, by that time, lived. I had children, I'd been a single parent, I'd been divorced, I'd walked out of a job, I'd moved around, I'd had all sorts of life difficulties, challenges, everything that you've experienced as well. All of the life stuff that you've had to deal with and get over and find a way to live with. But actually, this is what I realised when I got sober, is all of that experience was still there, and I knew how to handle things. So without the alcohol to make me anxious, I could draw on all of those decades of experience and life nonsense to allow me to make strong, confident decisions. I always say to women when I'm working with them, you are a strong, confident, capable and resilient woman. And I would say the same thing to you. We were never meant to live like this. We were never meant to sit miserable in front of the TV with a bottle of wine, feeling like we can't get out and live a life, that we can't deal with things. We were meant to step out into the world and show everybody what it's like to be a midlife, an older woman who has lived, loved, learned and gone out there and lived life on her own terms. That's what I'm doing now. And my life's not perfect, of course, but there's nothing about my life that I haven't chosen, that I am not massively grateful for. And I know where I'm going. I'm no longer stuck in this cycle of going around in circles. And one of the things that made me want to do this video was actually because a woman in my membership group is sober now for about 4 months. And this is what she wrote. I'm just going to read it so I don't get it wrong. I honestly think that this is what society is scared of. Women who are happy in their skin and confident are society's worst nightmare. That's why they write off women when we hit midlife, because they know that now we are going to become a force to be reckoned with. It makes me want to cry reading that, because I've worked with this lady, so I know what a journey she's been on. But I think that is 100% true, that we should be a force to be reckoned with, that we should be striding out in the world and making changes and making sure that we are using all of that wisdom and love and compassion that we have, that is naturally ours, that alcohol squashes down. Can you imagine a world full of women, confident, strong, capable and resilient, just like you can be, striding out in the world, making it better? That's my mission. And these are the kind of conversations that we're having in the membership group. I'd love you to come and join us. It's a private, safe space. And we're not just talking about giving up alcohol, although obviously that's part of the conversation. We are talking about who you want to be without alcohol. And for me, that's the really exciting part of giving up alcohol. So I hope you'll come and join us. There's a link in the description box below. Thank you so much for being here. Take care.